Oh, I think we're recording. Hey everyone, it's me. I'm Mr. Strength for my online classes. Glad that you guys can see who I am. If you haven't watched any of the videos I've attached to Blackboard Ultra, and for those of you who are in my in-person, hey, great to see you again. I decided I would go ahead and go through each one of these parts with you. Um, I'm one of those people who learns by doing, but it does help to have someone walk you through it. And I know that for some people, reading through the instructions just it really doesn't help too much. So I'm going to do a video for each one of these fundamental sections, and hopefully this will really help you guys out. And just to answer a question that came up in person, yes, you're going to actually save each part. So when you finish part one, save that file, upload it, and turn it in, and then you're good to go. Excuse me, to the next part. And you'll do that for all three parts. And all I'm really doing is seeing if you did it correctly. That's all. No big deal. Okay. And I'll address a couple of things that I know, some questions that did come up, and some things that I thought about after the fact as well. So I am in my office. Don't forget, if you need to visit with me or if you need to talk to me about anything outside of class time, especially for my online students, since you don't have a class time, go ahead and set up an appointment to come visit me in my office hours. If you want to do it virtually through Teams, we can do that. If you want to come in, that's fine too. But this just allows me to give you that one-on-one attention. And you can do 15, 30 minutes if you need at a time. Okay. Yeah, right. Let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I have three screens going here. So if I look this way, I'm actually checking over my Zoom so I can record. This is obviously where I'm going to be working inside of Illustrator. And over here, I actually have the step-by-step guide. So when I'm looking around, you don't have to worry too much about it. All right, I am going to share my Illustrator with you. Here we go. All right. So here we are in Illustrator. And we need to get the files down. I did set the files, so you should not have any problems downloading them. And I am actually about to, why does it say file is in the trash? I know that this comes up, and I don't know why it's doing that. But apparently if you sign out, it will allow you to download it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and sign out. I'm going to try to fix that for y'all, okay? Because that's just ridiculous. All right, I signed out. Let me get this. Sometimes the internet is stupid. Like, why can I download a file and I'm not it's dumb. So I'm trying to go through things the same way y'all would too. So I need to pull up my. Here we go. Okay. So here we are over in Illustrator. So I'm going to go to File and Open. Okay. So File, Open. And then now I'm using a PC. It doesn't matter if you use a Mac or a PC. It's just the navigation is going to be different. But for the most part, everything else will be the same. The main shortcut, if you ever have to switch between both, is that Command on the app on the Mac systems is going to be your control key on the Windows systems. In the class that I teach out of Texas, that's virtual. I go with both systems, and so shortcuts I'll tell you for both Mac and for a Windows base. And it's good if you know both. It does help you out in terms of marketability and also just being able to work, because if they use Macs and you're not used to them, that can definitely hurt your chances of getting hired. Okay. So I downloaded that file. Here we go. And you can even see, I'll grab this one because I did that one. I downloaded it before too. So we're going to pop this open. All right. So this is what we're looking at generally. And so I'm actually going to switch it over and I'm going to talk to you guys about raster versus vector. So if you haven't had the raster class, Mr. Coach Beasley teaches that, and so I'm taking over the vector class. The main thing that you have to know about these two is that vector is actually done with it doesn't use pixels, they use mathematical formulas, and this is really important. And I was telling my in-person students, you need to remember that phrase because it's actually part of the quiz. Okay, so they use a mathematical formula so that when you enlarge things, it looks perfect, no matter how big you make it. The problem is that you can't get very high detail graphics inside of vector graphics, where the opposite is true with raster images. Now, raster images, we all know because they're pictures, literally a photograph, which has an insane amount of detail, but that's using pixels. And of course, the problem with raster images is you cannot make them bigger, you can only make them smaller. If you make them bigger, the pixel goes from real tiny and starts to get big, and then you have what's called distortion. So you want to be aware of that. They also do talk about different file types. So JPEGs, you may see JPEG, you may see JPG. There's some variations in the way that the acronym is put. We also have PNGs. Oh my gosh, there were the other ones, TIFFs, TIF or TIFF. Those are used for like high quality printing, like posters and things. I'm trying to think, there's another one. There's PNGs. It'll come to me later. Oh, GIFs. A GIF file or GIF, however you want to pronounce it. I don't really care. Those in PNGs will have transparent backgrounds. I think TIFFs can too. It's been a long time since I've had to work with a TIFF. Then, of course, a PSD is a Photoshop document. When we go to vectors, what we generally talk about, you'll have SVGs. You may see these. They're not uncommon. I still see them occasionally from professional, like businesses, corporations. There's also PDFs. I love PDFs. PDFs can actually contain all fonts. So you don't have to worry about if somebody has Helvetica font. It's embedded inside the file. Then we have EPS, an encapsulated PostScript. This is one of the earliest types of graphics, and actually for printing, like a printing file. And then, of course, AI is an Adobe Illustrator file. Okay. And then another thing that it says here, another difference to consider is that raster files tend to be larger files because of all the intense information that it has in there with that detail, versus vector, which really don't have as much detail. Therefore, the file sizes tend to be a lot smaller. Okay, we're going to go ahead and switch over to Illustrator, and I'm going to walk you guys through this first part. Okay, so we start here by downloading things. The Nook card, this is actually going to be for a latter part, but if you're interested in 2D animation, this is going to give you like a really good chance to try to like building a character face. And it's this bear. But we're going to start with all these flags because the idea in this tutorial set, parts 1, 2, and 3, is to really get you comfortable with the basic aspect of Illustrator, which is using the pen tool, as well as, like it says down here, doing Pathfinder, and as well shapes and shape builder, which this is a fairly new aspect, came out in the last year or two, and I'm kind of curious because I haven't had to use it. And the curvature tool is something I haven't used personally, but I know how it works. And so I'm going to go with you guys on it and be kind of updating my information there. All right. So the next slide on there, it actually tells you how to go through and get the file and open things up. So one thing I want to show you guys, for example, is this little area up here underneath the menus. Your menus are like File, Edit, Object, Type, Select, Effect, View, Window, and Help. Don't go to the help menu. Just go to Google and Google questions. That's honestly what most of us do as professionals too. It's how do you do this? Sometimes I forget things and I have to go on there just so that I can try to remember how something was done. This entire thing is called your workspace. And you can actually change that. The window menu at the top, fourth option down, it's called workspace. And there's actually quite a bit of these. Now, I really don't recommend using this to create websites. There's cool things like tracing. It just has a setting that will lock down layers and such, which is essentially what we're doing. But it does keep things simple. You keep the essentials. I would stay here. You could customize your panels and such based on what you need, but that's your workspace. And then these over here on the right-hand side are called panels. And on the left-hand side, this is your toolbar. And if you use InDesign, this will look extremely familiar. And if you have taken the raster class and used Photoshop, this should look fairly familiar. There's a lot of similar tools in here, okay? And then we have over here what is called it's underneath the menu bar. We're going to turn on what's called the control panel. This is also what you do inside of InDesign. And I think Photoshop. I think it's dumb that they actually turned it off by default, but whatever. So I have mine turned on. So that's actually it. And it's a thing called control. So at the window menu at the top, there's a spot that says control. And if I turn it off, you can see it disappeared. So I'm going to turn it on. And this just has a lot of real quick, simple, commonly used bits for you to get to. You have your fill, which is the inside color. You have your stroke, which is the outline color. Stroke, it's actually, that's the term, is stroke for an outline. And then the thickness is called a weight. So you can see here stroke weight. So you're allowed to change that, and it is measured in points, just like with fonts. So an 8-point stroke is the same as an 8-point font. We have some other information. Opacity is transparency. So can you see through that color a little bit, like rose tinted glasses or blue tinted glasses? And so over here, we're going to jump to our panels, and you're going to see, this space that we see here, the white background, this is called an artboard, okay? And you can actually change that. You can go to a document setup, and then there's edit artboards. And that actually allows you to click and drag and draw a new artboard. Now, I don't really need multiple artboards. We'll talk about that in one of our first projects. And so I'm just going to hit escape, and that takes me back over here. If I go over here to layers, we see that we have a layer here, and there is a lock. That means that this layer is locked. You cannot do anything to it. Hence, my little pencil, my little cursor over here has a circle with a line through it. You can also see it's set to template, and that's just telling you this is the template. So name your layers according to what they actually are. We need to create a new layer because we're going to draw on top of this. I don't want to mess this whole thing up and get confused. And so using a couple layers is not a bad thing. Let's go ahead and do that. I know you can go to the lower right corner with that plus sign to create a new layer, but I'm just an old man. And so I'm going to go over here to this 3 lines in the top right corner. These are panel menu boxes. You'll find these in actually Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. So I'm going to pop that open. And you can see there's a whole slew of options in here, but we're going to do a new layer. Okay. So this comes up. I think of it like this when you're naming things. What if someone has to come in behind you because it's your day off? You need to name things in a way that someone who doesn't know what's going on can come in and figure it out. So in this case, we're going to call this the pen tool layer. That way I know what that layer is, and it's going to have the pen tool on it. For the color, I don't really care. There's a whole slew of colors in here. Just be careful when you get to stuff like light gray or even white. If you have a white background, it won't show up. We're not going to change any other settings here. I generally don't. But for this template layer, they actually have a template checkbox, and that's what the setting is, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And as you can see over here on the right-hand side in the layers panel, I have a pen tool. It's lit up kind of that grayish blue, like slate. And that actually lets you know that that's the layer you're selected, and that's the layer you're currently working on. All right. We are going to use what's called the pen tool. So I'm going to use my zoom tool over here. And I am going to, so zoom, if you click and move your mouse, it'll zoom you in and out. So to the right is in, to the left is out. So I'm going to zoom in. Most of us designers, this is, we work real close up on something, and then we'll just zoom right back out and look, and then zoom back in if we need to make some edits, okay? All right. Over on the right-hand side on your toolbar, this first tool is called the selection tool. It allows you to move objects around. It does a lot. It's the most common thing you'll probably end up using. However, it doesn't do a whole lot in terms of manipulating shapes and whatnot. That actually goes to the direct selection tool that's below it. You can literally change all these little anchor points that we're about to draw, okay? With that said, the one below it is the pen tool. The pen tool is actually the main tool used to draw in Illustrator. And as you can see from the sample it's doing, you can create curved lines with this, okay? So this is the one we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and click on the pen tool, and it literally looks like a little head of a pen, all right? So we're going to start first with clicking where this little square is and the number 1. When you click, you're going to see a dot. It's actually a square, but you're going to see a little spot, and that spot is called an anchor point. And when you move your cursor over, it says anchor. So an anchor point is the points that you use to create shapes. So a square has 4 corners, therefore it has 4 points, all right? If you just click, it's going to put the point there, and you can see this line. It's actually going to show me what the next line would look like. So I'm going to go over here on number 2, and I'm going to click, and now you see I have a line there. All right, now I'm going to go to 3. So we're going to do what's called, well, we're going to create a curved line. And so we're going to pull out what are called handles, or as I and a lot of my colleagues have called it, wings. So I'm going to click and drag, like literally I'm just going to click, hold down the button, and I'm going to pull this out, and you can actually see that line. And I'm going to try to angle it so that it lines up correctly. Bam, got it all set, right? So it looks pretty cool. I'm just catching up over here. I did skip a step, and that's okay. I'm going to show you guys something. All right, so now I'm going to go over here to 4, and I'm going to pull this guy. All right, pull this, and then I'm going to show you how to fix this next line. So it's really all we're doing. I'm going to go down to 5. It's a straight line, so I'm just going to click. So now I'm going to go over here to this one after 5, try to get that curve. And then I'm going to go over here. I could actually just click and then go straight up, click. Uh-oh, so this was actually brought up by a student too. And this is the step I skipped, but I want to show you this. So you can see that this has white going on and I can't see anything back here. If you look over here, now notice if I move my pen around, everything's fine, or move the mouse around. And then when you move over to the toolbar, it's going to maintain, where you were at, what you were doing. If we look over here, the fill is what's on the inside. So the inside right now is set to white, which is what we're seeing, and the stroke is the black. So we have a black outline. Stroke is referred to as an outline, or sorry, outlines are referred to as stroke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this white fill. That's where this box, the red line comes through. It means none. It means there's nothing there. So when this white box is on top of the black outline, so when the fill is on top of the stroke, I'm just going to click this box and boom, it's gone. You should have done that first. It tells you to do that in the instructions. That's okay. I'm showing you guys just in case you started and got stuck in a spot. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to bring this down here. I just clicked, and then I'm going to, again, just bring some wings in. The wings are so amazing. It is literally what allows you to create these amazing shapes. Boom, look at that. Pretty cool. So I'm going to do one last thing that I need to show you. So when you get over to the end of a line, you see that circle at the bottom right corner of my cursor? That means you're at the end. So I'm just going to finish this thing off. Bada bing, and Bob's your uncle. Now, there is a problem. We have a problem over here. I'm going to show this to you. So you see there's still a line curved over here. And here's how we're going to fix that. We're going to go over to our toolbar, and we're going to go to the white arrow. It's called the direct selection tool. Okay. Now, each one of these points is an anchor point, and you can manipulate them with this tool. The selection tool does not, but the direct selection tool does. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click on number 4. All right. Now, you can see it kind of curves out here. It's a problem. If I move this around, well, that's a problem. All right. So now we got a curve that's too far up here. So I'm going to hold the Alt key or the Option key on a Mac. You'll see a plus sign appear next to my direct selection tool. I can actually now change these handles or wings individually. So I'm holding down the Alt or Option key, and then I'm just going to bring this around. And then I'm going to go to Edit. And you guys do not have deselect all in here. That's okay. I'm just going to click out here on the side and boom. And there you go. That's it. It seems pretty simple. That last part seems a little odd, but that's how it works. The pen tool is how you draw a whole bunch of these shapes. All right, real easy. So now we're going to move on over. Whoa. If you actually hold the space bar down, you can move your screen around. We're going to go over here and we are going to create a curvature tool. So we're going to create a new layer. Each one of these is going to be a new layer. So I'm going to go to my panel menu and hit new layer. We're going to call it curvature tool. You can leave it green. I'm going to do the blue just because the template is already set to green. So when I drop this down, I'm just going to choose that medium blue, and then I'm going to hit OK. And so here we go. All right, so this is a tool that I think is interesting. I haven't used it yet, but I'm really curious because it may help me in a lot of things. So it's the pen tool that's got the squiggly line coming out. And if you move your cursor over these tools in the toolbox, it'll actually show you what they are and give you a little bit of a look as to what it is. All right, so we're grabbing the curvature tool. So with the curvature tool, it says you can begin to trace the template lines of the flag. So I'm going to start here with 1. And then from the first anchor point, I'm going to place the curvature tool. You'll now see an objective path. Oh, look at this. And it's changing it as I keep going. I don't like that, but I just showed you guys how you can actually go through and it'll, make the changes. So we're going to go through. What I think is interesting on this tool is like how I did this first section, but these are going to be a problem, but that's okay. Because now that we have it completed, I'm going to go over here to the direct selection tool. I'm looking at something. I apparently, okay, well, let's do this. So I'm going to grab my direct selection tool. I'm going to start up here. So it's automatically creating wings. And so what I can do is I'm going to fix that top curve, right? See how it's curved there? Now I'm going to hold the Alt key and I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to line up the wing, the side of the flag, just like that. And so I know it's not telling you this in the book, and I'm holding the Alt Option key again. But this, being able to come back and change some of the stuff, I don't know why I was just doing the Alt key there, is actually super helpful. Here we go. All right, and then I am, come on now. Here we go. This guy over. I got to get this stupid floating panel out of my way. And so I'm going to hold Alt Option, bring this down, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just using those wings to create. Boom. Look at that. Not bad. Okay, so what I did is I used the curvature tool, hit all the points, and then I went back manually and adjusted everything. All right. Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take this out, and I'm actually going to let's see if we can do this according to the way it goes. So I'm going to start at 1. I'm going to go to 2. Then I'm going to go to 3, which makes the cool curve. Then I'm going to go to 4. Oh, it actually allows you to move it. And I'm going to go to 5. Okay, so then, how does it do 5? All right, let's see. Oh, okay. So it says you will need to create a straight path. To do this with the curvature tool, double click on the last anchor. Oh, isn't that something? So I'm double clicked on 5 and I get a straight line. And then placing this power. That is weird. You know what? I don't think I'm a fan of this tool anymore. Because look, I'm still getting up at the same results. So my deduction is that honestly, go through and I'll even just do this. Just, get your curves all up in there and then use your direct selection tool to go ahead and create or to edit everything down. Okay. I think it's cool when they try to create these like things that can make your process be a little bit easier, but it's not always going to be the best. Automation, AI, trust me, it's not going to replace the human being, when it comes to this stuff. Let me get this curve. I'm going to finish this out for you. In case you were asking, like, why would you do this? Well, honestly, I've done like caricatures. It wasn't I guess caricature is the right word. Where I had to take some Star Wars characters and or people. I hate these things, these little floating helpers that are trying to help me. I've had to do it like when I'm trying to create characters. I'm going to use the Alt key just to get that, alter the wing on its own. And I had to go and trace things. And you know what? This honestly probably would have helped me a lot, being able to use that curvature tool. So there's a time and a place for certain things. They're not going to be perfect, but you're still going to have to go up and do a little bit of cleanup, right? So boom, you're done there. And then as it says in there, when you look over here, there's this tab for the file we're working on. It has AI, it has this asterisk. So this asterisk is indicating that some changes have been made, and we need to make sure we save that file. So what we're going to do is we're going to save. Did I put everything in here? There's no way. Oh crap, I did. Sorry, guys. So you're going to go through and we'll save it. I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to keep doing this video. So the next part, apparently I gave you guys all the parts. And so here you go. The arrangement of the objects. Sorry, we're going to go to what's called Pathfinder. So we're going to create something with Pathfinder. And I love Pathfinder. It's my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and add a new layer. So we're going to go to File, New Layer. This one's going to be called Shape with Pathfinder. And just to be clear, y'all, I'm going to be checking for the layer names on there to make sure they're correct, okay? We already have a blue, and I don't really, well, we'll do magenta. So we'll pick magenta. This list actually goes in an order, and that's why you can jump around a little bit. So I've got Shape with Pathfinder. I'm choosing magenta. The color I don't care about. The name I do. And then I'm just going to hit OK. All right. So what we're going to look at next are shape tools. So it starts out underneath the, because it's new curvature tool, you see a box. And so this is the rectangle tool. Any of these tools that has that little arrow in the lower right-hand corner, if you click and hold, it'll open up what I call a toolbox, okay? And so inside that toolbox, you'll see that there's line tool, star tool, which you can do like different points, 6 point, 8 point, 16 million point stars. Polygons, so you can do a hexagon, octagon. I can't even remember the other ones, but they're cool. Pentagons. And then you have the ellipse. Ellipse is another name for curved objects. So an oval is an ellipse and a circle is an ellipse, okay? They're both under that. And then a rectangle. A rectangle is basically a rectangle. A square is just a rectangle with equal sides, 4 equal sides, okay? So we're going to go ahead and choose the rectangle tool, okay? And then I'm going to show you, I do want you guys to draw. So we're going to draw one out. Boom, look at that. So this is a square with a black stroke, or a rectangle, sorry. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pick my selection tool, the black arrow. You see these circles inside the shape? These allow you to curve the corners. So if you grab one and start to pull it, it's going to create a curved shape. My God, there have been so many times in the, like, I'm talking like 7 years ago that I wish we could have done this easily. And they only just introduced it, fair, like I'm saying just like in the past, probably 3 years. So I'm going to pull this out back to my curves. And then if you need to resize it, you can resize it from the sides or the top and bottom. You can grab corners to resize shapes. And if you want to rotate, you just pull your cursor over close to a corner and you get that double-sided arrow that's got like a curve to it. And you can actually rotate. That little gray box that's giving you the degrees that you're turning something, that's a smart guide. It's actually trying to help you to understand. So like I can take something and rotate it to 90 degrees. Boom, right? Pretty simple. Okay. So we are going to draw ourselves. So we have a square. Well, square. We're going to do a rectangle. Okay. Let's make that one. I am going to change the color. So I'm going to double click and we're just going to make it green. We're going to talk about swatches later. So I'm going to do green. I'm going to draw another one and I'm going to give it some curved corners. So I drew a shape. Grab my selection tool. I'm going to grab those little dots and I'm going to create curved corners. Okay. Next, let's talk about the ellipse tool. Okay, so an ellipse tool, if you just click and drag, it's going to create an oval. Now, of course, you're going to ask, well, how do you do a perfect circle? You just hold down the shift key and draw out and you'll get an absolute perfect circle there. Okay. I am looking to see how they do this. Let's see. Okay, so let's do 20 small circles. Oh, okay. Let's take a look. I'm going to switch over to my selection tool, the black arrow. Oh, that is a cool one. Okay, so it looks like it's got this little dot that's here on the right-hand side. And if you grab that you can actually bring it around. You can create Pac-Man. Oh, look at that. I even messed it up. That's all. Oh, wow. It's like a clock, right? Sorry, I get amazed by animations. So here you go. Pac-Man, Pac-Man. Okay. So we're going to make it kind of Pac-Man-ish, right? That's actually a pretty new tool. I did not know that was even in there. So that's pretty cool. I'm just going to leave these shapes the way they are. Below, let's take a look at the polygon tool. Let me make sure, oh, we are going to do the star tool. Okay, I'm not going to go too crazy. So let's go over here. We're going to click and hold, and that's going to bring us our polygon tool. You'll notice that it has like letters and different symbols on the right-hand side. These are shortcuts. So the letter M, as in Montana, that is going to be, for the rectangle tool. L, as in left, is going to be your ellipse tool. So the polygon doesn't have a shortcut, and that's okay. So we're just going to go ahead and, woo, look at that. It starts to draw. Okay. So trying to get in a nice spot where this one's drawing out from the center. Okay. And then we can rotate it however we need. So I'm going to do that. All right. So there's your polygon. And then they have a triangle. And so the cool thing, okay, so if you click, it allows you to make certain selection, like put information in. So if you're doing a rectangle, you can tell it how tall and how wide. If it's a circle, you can tell it what the diameter is, or the radius. And so you can actually create an ellipse or a perfect circle that way. And so with polygons, if you click, I'm going to click underneath the circle, it gives you the option. So your radius, that is from the center of the object out to the side. That's how tall it is or how wide it's going to be. But what I actually am going to look at is sides. So right now it's doing 6. That's a hexagon. We could do an octagon. We could even take it down to a pentagon. But to do a triangle, we're going to do 3 sides. Okay, so hit OK. And now you got a 3-sided triangle, which is really cool because I did not realize you could use a polygon tool and to make a triangle. And I was today years old when I figured that out. All right, so let's go to the selection tool, the black arrow, and you can see this also has little dots, and that's going to curve the corners. And the same thing can be done over here. We're just going to grab one, and we can actually create those curved corners. I don't like polygons, like hexagons and octagons and stuff like that. With curved corners, I actually like them with sharp corners, but I do dig this triangle. Okay, so then down below, we're going to bring out our star tool. So with the star tool, let me go and pop this baby in there. It creates a regular star if you just draw, click and drag, but you can actually do some more custom settings. So I'm going to click, and so you can see radius 1 is going to be from the center to the outside point, and the radius 2 is the center to the inside point. Okay. So how many points do we want to do? What do they have in here? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're doing 7. So I'm going to click that up to 7, hit OK. And so you can see that it also created, you can also see where it creates, this bigger one. Which I don't like this one. I'm going to take this out. And so what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to change the radius. So see, this one I'm setting to 30 point. Hit tab. Don't hit enter. Hit tab. Okay. And then I'm going to type in 25 point, hit tab, and then I'm doing my 7 sides. Boom, look at that. So whoop. So now we have, an odd looking shape. So like, you want like a pop piece that says like a sales price, or if you're animating and you want to create like stars of different shapes and different points coming out of someone's head because they got knocked unconscious. Hey, look, this is how you can create those kind of shapes as well inside Illustrator. And then the line segment tool, that's the last one we're going to have to do on this part. So we're going to go here to the line segment, literally draws a line, but you can make it go in any direction that you want. If you just click, it'll ask you how long do you want it to go, at what angle do you want it to appear, boom, just like that, right? Pretty simple. That's just a click and you get the menu. And it is absolutely okay to just sit here and play with this stuff. Messing around with things is how we actually learn how to use things sometimes. We do the button smashing on video games and stuff like that. But sometimes it's good to have stuff like this where there's a tutorial and it walks you through, so we have a better understanding of what we're working with. All right, this is where it's going to get real fun. Okay, so we're going to actually move our shapes so that they all overlap. there, over here, and then I think we'll just throw a line like this. We'll put this guy here, and yeah, let's just have this one cross over, kind of like that. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to switch over because we got to talk a little bit about how Pathfinder works, and it is absolutely one of my favorite things about Illustrator. I love this thing. So we arranged all of our objects in a weird way, okay, and then we're going to combine them, but we're going to talk about Pathfinder. Okay, arranging objects. I got you. Okay, so they're going to show you like how this is a right click. So there's a thing called arrange, and you can move things forwards and backwards. And that's actually kind of important to know because whatever's on top is on top, and what's in the background is in the back. And sometimes with Pathfinder, that actually affects it. So I'm going to grab this rectangle, for example. If I right click, you can see arrange down here at the bottom. So I can bring it to the front in front of everything, or I can just bring it forward one step. Bringing it forward one step didn't do anything. So if I do it again, there you go. And so just show you too, I'll grab this curved. And if I go arrange, bring to front, it's automatically going to bring it to the front. Okay. Just to show you how like the back works, if I grab this star, my nice 5-point star, I can send it all the way to the back. And so now it's behind absolutely everything. Okay. So, and that's okay. We'll work on that when we're creating things. All right. All right, so then let's take a look. So we talked about, being able to move things around and create arrangements. And now we're going to talk about Pathfinder. And so what I was going to do here is show you this one. So when we're in Pathfinder, you're going to see these symbols with the squares that are on the left-hand side, as well as like trim, merge, crop, outline, stuff like that. And so this shows you examples of how it'll be resulting appearance and deconstructed. So they're showing you like how these are just parts put together. All right. And so where the gray space is on these, that's what's going to be left over. So this is where we started. Okay. And these are the shapes, and then, what you end up with. So when you unite, creates one shape. If you take out whatever's in the front, so in this case, this piece is in the furthest back because it's behind this, which is behind this. So it's going to take these and punch it out of this shape. Okay. And honestly, what I always even tell my students for that I teach virtually, just play with it. For the longest time, it took me a little while, but eventually I started just messing with things. But this is in here because I wanted to show you guys visual examples of things. And so this is a very helpful reference, okay? So they told us that they wanted to, let's go, I gotta switch it back over to my Illustrator. So they told us they wanted us to select everything. So I got my selection tool, black arrow, and I'm gonna click and I'm gonna drag. So I've got everything set. Okay, let's get into Pathfinder, okay? Most of the things that you're going to be working with, they're going to be over here at the top at the window menu. So we're going to go to window. And then I believe, oh, it doesn't let me just scroll. We're going to scroll down. I like this menu so much. It's in alphabetical order, which is why I like to go here first. But you'll find Pathfinder a little ways down the line. And so it'll pop up this panel. So these guys are called panels, okay? So based on what I just showed you, you can see the squares in here. And so that'll help you out. So if I go and I choose the first one, now it's all one big shape. Okay, if I choose the second one, well, nothing happened, right? We have to undo. So Command Z as in zebra on the Macs, Control Z on the Windows machines, and that'll back you out. If I choose this guy, well, only the star is chosen. Yeah, you generally, sometimes it'll tell you can only do 2 shapes, and so we want to be careful about that. For this one, it looks like they want us to go ahead and merge everything. I'm just double checking. We are. So we're going to merge. Turtle, whoops. Here we go. Ta-da! We got it all merged together. Pretty nice. All right. As we're going through, we're going to take a look at how we can use Pathfinder to create like a cloud, for example, okay? So we're going to take our shapes. So we're going to go over to our toolbar. We're going to choose the ellipse tool. All right. So I'm going to draw, and we're going to change the color. I don't want green. So I'm going to double click my green fill. I'm going to choose a gray. It's going to be a rain cloud. All right, and then I'm just going to overlap a few circles, kind of like this. All right, well, let's throw one more over here. So I'm going to end up creating a different shape. So I've got some cloud bubbles over here, if you will. Then using the shift key, you can hold shift and you can select all the different objects there. And now I need them to merge together to make one shape. So I'm going to go back to Pathfinder here and I'm going to choose Unite. So, hey, it looks kind of like a cloud, right? We're going to fix something on it though, make it look a little more kind of like a cloud we normally see in animations or inside of comics. So I'm going to go back to where my shapes are. I'm going to press and hold to get the toolbar open, and I'm going to choose the rectangle tool. Now, it's a good idea to go ahead and draw your shape bigger than the shape you're working with. So just kind of, put it to where the rectangle covers up the bottom part of the cloud, and then it's on top. All right. Once you have that set and it's covering everything that's underneath, use shift and go ahead and select that the cloud that you drew, all the circles that we already united. And then what we're going to do is choose the second one. This is called minus front. Minus front is going to basically take whatever shape is in the front and it's going to punch it. So it's going to cookie cut and cut out whatever it's on top of. This is going to disappear. We're going to keep the top part. All right. So we're going to choose that second option, minus front. And then boom, look at that cloud. Look at that cloud. Isn't it dope? I love it. All right. Perfect. Make sure you're saving. So Control S as in Sam, Command S on the Macs. Now this one I'm actually really interested in and I'm super excited about. It's called Shapes with Shape Builder. So this is a new tool and I'm very interested to check it out with you. So let's go ahead and get that one going too, okay? So I'm over here at Shape Builder. So I moved my stuff over. I'm going to go to my layers panel. I'm going to create a new layer, okay? So go to the panel menu, do new layer. And we're going to do Shape Builder. They do it as one word. Oh, this is shapes with Shape Builder. Do I want magenta? Well, we just did magenta. Out of the cyan, the light gray, they're going to be too bright. I don't want to do black because I may be having like a black stroke on there, so it may get lost. So I'm going to choose orange. That way we can see it. All right, so we have shape with shape builder and orange, and we're hit OK. And we're good to go. Okay, so apparently shape builder tool is similar to Pathfinder in the sense that it can be combined and subtract shapes. The shape builder tool is also able to create more complex shapes because it combines shapes using manual inputs instead of using a preferred set of buttons like Pathfinder. So how Pathfinder already has all this stuff, we're already like they're pre-set up. We're going to have more freedom with it, okay? So we're going to do that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, so I'm going to actually close this panel. All right, so over here, we're going to grab our ellipse tool. So we're going to go to our square where our shapes are, choose ellipse, hold down shift, and we're gonna create a flower. Let me see here. Yeah, here's a trick. If you hold the Alt or Option key on the Mac, and you hold the Shift key, wherever your cursor is will be the center of the circle. So I'm gonna click and drag, and we're gonna set it up to what? Like let's do around 80 points. See, as is 80.6 points, somewhere in that range. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. Well, see, can't just start drawing a circle. Just go ahead and start drawing some other circles. Oh, they want them to all overlap. Oh, well, then I get to teach you guys a cool little trick. We're going to do what's called duplicate. So there's no point in trying to like recreate the exact same circle over and over again. So we're going to actually copy it. But instead of copy paste, I'm going to teach you guys how to duplicate. So we're going to go to the selection tool, the black arrow. I've got this circle selected. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac. See how it has a double arrowhead there under my cursor? That means you're going to copy it. So you're duplicating. All right, so I'm going to click and I'm going to drag this guy out. And I'm going to try to line it up. All these purple lines, these are smart guides. They're actually trying to help you out. And I'm going to bring this one over. All right, and then I'm going to bring this guy kind of up to the top and over here. Now I know it's weird. You can't really see the other circle in the background, but that's on purpose. Let's take our cursor. Another way to select multiple objects is a click and drag. So I'm just using my selection tool. I'm going to click and drag this out. See that little dotted line? Anything that's inside of this dotted line is going to be selected. So I've selected them. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 circles out here. Okay, and then I have one in the center. All right. I'm going to excuse me. I'm going to get rid of this gray. So I'm going to over here on the toolbar. I'm going to go ahead and double click and oh no, I don't need to double click it. I need to get rid of that color. So I'm going to go down here and choose the none. Boom. And now I can see everything. Okay. And I see that mine is different. So you know what? I'm just going to leave it that way. Sometimes you just got to work with what you got. Okay. So we're creating a flower. And so I am going to grab the rectangle tool. And I'm going to have my flower kind of come out to the side. So around here in the center, I'm going to bring this down. So I'm creating a little stem. Oh, you know what? Let's draw that out a little further. And I'm just going to grab my selection tool, the black arrow, so I can reshape things. Yeah, I'm going to push it off to the side a little bit. And then I'm going to get my ellipse, and I'm going to draw some ovals. So just draw. And it's probably a good idea to draw from the outside in. But if you need to move anything, just grab your selection tool, the black arrow, and you can select that. And you can also resize them. That little gray box gets on my nerves sometimes because it gets in the way. All right, so we have our little flower petals, and we have our leaves, and we have our stem. Not too bad. Okay, so we're going to use our selection tool, the black arrow. All right, so now we need to get to the, okay, that's what that is. Where are you at? This one. Okay, so when we're in our toolbar, we see the pens, we see the paintbrush, the type tool, a rotation, an eraser. And below it, it's this thing called shape builder. That's interesting. All right, let's take a look at this. So with these, oh, sorry, the selection tool, we're going to select all these objects. So easiest thing to do in this area is to click and drag so that we get everything of all the elements of the flower in there. Okay, gosh, that thing is getting on my nerves. So we have all of our pieces of the flower selected. All right. Next on our toolbar, we're going to head over and we're going to go. Remember, if you move your cursor over, you can actually see a tool. So we're going to grab our our shape builder. And then if you hover over a shape, it says, you'll notice the tool recognizes a path. So like even inside of our circle, inside of the stems, like everywhere it's breaking apart things, right? So we're going to click and drag to grab the entire circle inside. So they're saying you click and you're going to go around as you click to select everything. So select, don't forget this little spot. Make sure everything in there is selected. I had to crisscross those lines, and that's okay. And so that creates our little flower piece. Okay, don't make fun of my flower. It's a great flower. The next thing we're gonna do is we need to get these guys set. So what it looks like it does is it actually allows you to customize how different objects are put together. So like, for example, I could bring these and this and this and this, and oh my gosh, this is a pretty cool tool, I ain't gonna lie. All right, so by using, the draw aspect of telling it, I want these parts to be, in fact, I'll undo this and show you kind of what was going on. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna create it to where it looks like these petals are overlapping. So I'm gonna take this guy, click and drag to combine with these two, so it makes it one object. That's the big difference, and I really like this. I can imagine creating a flower like that. I did the same thing with the leaves, so they look like they're coming straight off the stem. That's pretty cool. All right, well, with that done, I'm gonna tell you guys, if you want, let's go ahead just for funsies, because I try to be fun. I'm gonna color each petal let's go. I'm going to start with red, and then up here, and this is just good practice for you guys. I'm going to double click. If you miss me doing any steps, just stop the video, take your time. I want you to get comfortable. I want you to learn it, but I also want you to become comfortable with it. But I'm going to let you choose the colors. And then obviously we're going to use green for the stem because why not? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we choose something else? And then this is where it's going to get tricky. I wonder. Oh, it actually ooh, look at that. Okay, so if you want to color the inside, you don't have to. This one's tricky. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, click and drag. So I'm only selecting my petals in the center. Now, I told you that if you hold shift, you can add, objects as a selection. You can also deselect. So I'm going to click on the petals that I colored, and that's going to let me choose the center. And I know I'm making this seem a lot harder than it probably should be. But boom, look at that. That's just awesome. Okay. And so once you have all of these set up, we have our layers set. You're just going to make sure you save it. So I'm going to go File and Save. And when your object is saved, that asterisk is going to disappear from the tab over here. And that's it. This is the file you're going to turn in. So please make sure you guys turn that in. Okay. Let me turn off my screen share. Oh, isn't that crazy? Okay. So there we go. So what we're going to end up doing is you guys are going to turn this in, and that's going to be the grade. If you feel like yours isn't really pretty, that's okay. What I'm really looking at is, did you go in and do the layers correctly? How are the pen lines with the curvature tool and the pen tool? Did you get the Pathfinder things? Play with the Pathfinder. Give me a whole bunch of things if you can. But because we're just practicing a little bit, okay? But those are really some of the most basic tools that you need, but those tools will get you so far in the process. The video is meant to kind of help you along, but do feel free, go over it a few times if you need. When you do the quizzes will be released on Fridays. When you do the quiz, go ahead and you can have this tutorial opened up, and feel free to use it when you're doing the quizzes. The quizzes are just so you don't jump too far ahead, because I know you all are taking other classes, and I want you to make sure you're focusing on classes that maybe you're having a little more trouble with. Look, I have a college degree, and I remember what it was like, okay? So I won't make this due for at least another couple weeks, okay? But that'll be the lesson there. Otherwise, just make sure you guys turn in your files. And if you are having any troubles with this, you can set up an appointment. You can come in person. If you are virtual and you are struggling, please come in. I'm happy to do this remotely. It's not a problem, but please come in. You are welcome to come and sit in class, even if it's just to get a pointer on one part of the assignment or just help. And then don't forget, on Fridays, we have an open lab in C24. Coach Beasley or I or both of us will be there. We just want to make sure the lab's open so that those of you who need help or you need access to a computer can come in and get that done too, okay? Make sure you stay up to date on everything. We are actually not going to have class for Monday on Martin Luther King Day. So please go ahead and try to get this stuff done. And then when we meet up in person on that following Monday, we'll kind of knock things through from there. If you're online, go ahead and get things turned in, take that quiz, hit the next spot. You can actually go ahead. It's just every Friday the quiz is going to be released, so you will have to wait at least till Friday, okay? You guys, please email me, set up an appointment, do whatever. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. That's literally what my job is. So please let me help you. I don't know you need help unless you ask for it, okay? Otherwise, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you around.